We were fully expecting Milos Raonic to walk in mid-segment, and we got him his own music. A former Canadian Male Athlete of the Year, 3-time Tennis Canada Player of the Year, fresh off a semifinal appearance at Wimbledon, the highest-ranked player in Canadian history, the 6th-ranked tennis player in the world, and coming after you, Stan Wawrinka. The pride of Thornhill, Ontario. Milos Raonic, join us. How are you, Milos?
Much better. My ego's feeling good after that kind of introduction. That music, I should stay in here all day. My tennis will improve on its own.
I think of tennis, I think of Ric Flair's intro music, and that's exactly what you got, a little wrestling intro music to Tim and Sid. Thanks for coming by, and welcome home.
Thank you.
How long have you been in home? How long are you staying home?
I've been home less than 24 hours,
Nice.
and I'm going to stay a few more days, more than 24 hours. No, I'll be here for about 10 days, get a little bit back into training, get ready for a warm-up tournament in Washington before the Rogers Cup. So it's exciting.
All right, we're going to talk some Rogers Cup, but I know from following you on Twitter that you were watching this LeBron James decision with as much bated breath as I was. Did you get hooked to LeBron James and where he was going to go?
Yeah. I was messaging. I was like talking about back and forth, where he should go, how she should stay, maybe if he stays, who's he's going to stay with. Does Bosh stay in the mix? Does Melo get in the mix? There's a lot of storylines there that you could really toss around. And it's unbelievable that one guy's decision-making process probably captivates the whole summer of sport.
It is unbelievable. We were talking in the break. You're a pretty big basketball fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. It's let's say I had the talent to do so. If I could, I would love to be a basketball player.
Oh yeah.
And then comes the whole ability aspect after.
Well, you got some size to you.
Yeah,
you
but
play
I
at all?
don't know if I could take a hit from LeBron at 260 coming through me, right?
Right, 6'8", 260. What's left for you in basketball? Like, are you glued to anything, or now that LeBron's there, do you think the Cavs are just as good as anyone in the East?
Well, right now, to tell you the truth, being just as good as anybody in the East is not good enough. Right. You got to step up. You got to become the best player in the league and the best team in the league. And the West is so exciting to watch day in and day out. And I think the Eastern teams, now that there's been a little bit of shuffling around, it's going to be a much more exciting year this year than it was last.
All right, who wins the East right now? And I know that you're a Raptors fan.
The best team in the East right now, I would say, is Chicago, maybe.
Oh, yeah?
I
Not
think
a bad
so.
pick.
And actually, to tell you the truth, I love watching, because there's a few dead games in the NBA season with 82 games. The best games to watch is the team playing Chicago, because Chicago plays that rough ball. They make you uncomfortable, so the other teams actually sort of feel sort of anxious and forced to bring out like a high level. They don't let you just get by. They're there every play. They try to keep you under 85 points, and they're the most fun team, not them to watch, the team against them.
Right. Now I know you're ahead because you're picking up Tom Thibodeau, who I love Tom Thibodeau. I think he's the best coach in the NBA. But have you met any of those guys, by the way? Were you around Steve Nash a couple days ago or something like that?
Yeah, we played some tennis.
Oh, yeah.
I asked him to shoot some hoops, but we never got around to that. But we played some tennis.
How was he?
Damn, how quick that guy is.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's impressive to watch.
He's a 40-year-old.
Yeah, I wish I was that fast. At what, 23?
So what,
No.
Steve Nash turned into Michael Chang, like just chasing down balls as you were hitting them in the corners?
He tried to.
Was Wimbledon the best tournament that you've ever played?
Yeah, to this point, I would say it's got some special sentiment to me. Being my first time final, being a tournament I really wanted to do well and just haven't done well in the past. So to change it around there, and it's given me a lot of belief, and especially now after French, Wimbledon, normally my toughest part of the year. To actually, if you told me halfway through the 2014 season that's going to be your best part of the year so far,
right,
I would have been like laughing in you like LOL right in your face.
Right.
But I got to say, it's been going well, and it's actually got me so much more pumped up. Now we get to go on hard courts. It's the part I look forward to the most. Getting to play here in Toronto, getting to play the U.S. Open soon after. So it's exciting, and I'm so hungry to do much better.
I'm glad that you brought up the French, because I think if you ask most experts where your first quarterfinal would be. I don't think many people would have said it was the French Open. What did that mean to your game at that point to go quarterfinals at French?
Just gave me an understanding of how I need to deal with it better. Obviously, I don't think I dealt with it the best the first time around. I think I dealt with my quarterfinal in Wimbledon better. And hopefully next time I'll deal better with my semifinal situation. And there's a lot of things I'm getting better at, but there's no cheat sheet on experience. You got to go through those things. You got to learn how to deal with those moments.
Do you feel like you're closer to being consistently in that Final Four than you were, say, 6 months ago?
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
A lot of things have changed, even just how I even look at things. I would say that Wimbledon was the first time I truly felt, and probably that's what got to me the most in the semifinal. I've truly felt like this could be the slam I win. And I think that opportunity that I felt was within grasp. That's what sort of held me back the most in that semifinal against Roger.
You step on any court with Roger Federer. It's an opportunity to learn. You step on at Wimbledon. Is there something different about facing him there than maybe anywhere else?
No, not really. The only thing is he's done that situation 36 times. I'm at my first time. So
right.
You get behind that first game, he's like, here's number 36, opportunity to start off a match. And I'm like, damn, I'm starting my first game off, and this ain't a good start. I'm down a few break points here. Let's try to figure out a way. So it's Roger's Roger. You give him that, but at the end of the day, those 17 Grand Slams, whatever he may have achieved or is achieving to that point, sort of just walks out the door, and you just sort of see it as focus on yourself, and that's a guy standing in the way of your goal.
Somebody look at that final score in that semifinal, and they might think that it wasn't close. And I look back and I see the first game and a game in the second set where he breaks. And that's the difference between maybe winning and losing. It's that thin. Did you look at it like that? And was that first game, in the first set, nerves?
The first game, I think, was just not so much nerves, just situational, learning how to sort of what you need to go out there with and how to start.
Right.
Obviously, he knows it's not going to be the most comfortable situation for me no matter what. First time even on that center court.
Right.
And so I think that was just an experience play there. I think the ones that I'm the most disappointed is losing both service games at 4-all after holding handily up until in the second and third set. I would give away a few points, then he would step up, obviously, because rarely does it happen that'll give away a complete game. So he dealt with those situations well, but there's no way that 4-all in a set that I should be, especially that way. If he plays 4 great points, I'd be here saying I couldn't do much, but I put that on me. Those are my games to lose at that point.
So what's the thing that you would have done differently in that spot then?
I would have just liked to have played them like the games before and not let myself get in my own way. That's what I felt I did. I got in my own way. Roger didn't get in my way in those games.
I'm so intrigued by, and maybe I'm the only one, but I'm so intrigued by the mindset of sport. Like, I think that at certain levels, it becomes more about, your mind and your mental fortitude than it is about skills. So I'm curious, in that first game, in the first set, you said that he did things where he understood the experience of the situation. Did he go after shots that he might not have normally gone after? Is that the difference?
No, normally what happens, especially against my serve.
Yeah.
It's hard in the beginning to get a rhythm. It's quite different from everybody else's. You sort of have to guess. He guessed right, but the thing, it's not about guessing right, because there's about a 50-50 chance you might guess the right way.
Right.
Thing is, he made me play a good ball on all of them, and he did not make any mistakes. It's not he did anything out of character, but he really just enforced what he does well in that first game. And you could see he had a bit of extra energy because he knows, okay, if I can get that first game, the day's going to be much tougher on Milos. And also, you could feel that after that, he just sort of settled in more and felt a little bit more relaxed, and the situation could never get to him because from the start, he was already ahead.
Wimbledon was a very cool moment for Canadians watching, not only you, Jeannie, but Vasek winning the doubles title. Did you see 4 years ago, 5 years ago, there being a time like this in Canadian tennis where yourself, where Jeannie and Vasek were on the verge? I mean, two top, I guess 35 now because Vasek has dropped a little bit, but 2 top 30 players 10 years ago, that seemed unfathomable almost.
Yeah, it's I don't think even 10 years ago. You asked me for my own goals. There were certain points where I would have been what I would have said, okay, I want to be consistent top 50 player, but that's quite changed. Now it's about becoming number 1.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that have changed, and they've changed for the better, I gotta say. And the appreciation is there, the recognition, especially in Canada, which we always get to see the big jumps because we're gone so much. And then when you get back, you see the big differences. You don't see steady, gradual differences. You see big differences in kind of recognition and respect to we're getting, and not even just us, tennis in general.
Right.
People participating, people wanting to be on courts, camps filling up. It's not about always wanting to be a professional tennis player. It's about sometimes just getting out there and wanting to play tennis.
Milos Raonic in studio with us. I'm sure last year's run at the Rogers Cup was special for you. How much more special would it be if you could do that less than 20 minutes away from where you grew up?
Yeah, it would be. Definitely. But I think the one thing I could not, no matter what was to happen here this year at the Rogers Cup in Toronto, the one thing I could not sort of cop, it was the first time I broke into the top 10.
Right.
I was coming off playing really poorly, so I didn't know what was going to happen. Whereas now I could sort of, let's say in a way of maybe putting a little bit more on myself, is I could sort of expect that to happen.
Right.
Whereas it was so new to me, and I was struggling so much with confidence leading into that tournament in 2013. But having it here in Toronto would be something really, really special to me. And I would say it's probably the second biggest thing that's happened to me in my career so far after Wimbledon. And anything short of doing better than I did last year, I think I would be disappointed.
That's interesting because that means winning that thing.
I'll let you say it, but yeah, that is.
So can you now look back at hindsight and say that was the jumping off point?
I can, because it turned around a lot of things. I don't think I revolutionized my tennis game during the Rogers Cup last year.
Right.
But it sort of gave me a lot of structure, belief, and understanding in the work I was doing, especially changing coaches just before that.
Right.
So it gave a lot of sort of blind confidence that, okay, just keep doing this work, and going forward with it. And then everything has changed, and I think I've developed much more as a player, much more as an athlete, much more as a mental player. All those kind of things have come together much more, and that sort of gave it a little bit of a kickstart.
Last year at this time, how far were you away from the guy that just said that he thinks he can win the Rogers Cup?
Quite far.
Yeah?
Yeah, quite far. It'd be like saying, I don't know, let me give you the Knicks are winning the NBA championship. This is how far I'm going.
Right, shots fired at the Knicks, but I understand
exactly.
the
and I got a lot of friends that are huge Knicks fans, so I'm enjoying taking that shot. You got to
well, Carmelo's going to need some help. And
well, maybe Fisher can play.
I don't know. You come along. That's real interesting. You come along at a time where there are 3 guys who are not just Hall of Famers, but 3 guys who you could probably make an argument by the time they're done that they could be among the best of all time. Is that ever frustrating to you to look at it that way?
No, because as much as those guys achieve and whatnot, I like you, Roger, but I don't really care too much about what you're doing. I just want to get around you. That's all that matters to me. Same with Rafa, same with Novak, same with whoever might be in that sort of category in front of me. It's just, I got to get a way around you. I'm not going to be mad at you for being good or being bad or whatever, but I believe it's in myself to get around that, and I got to find that way.
How much of that is mental, do you think?
A bunch of it. I think those guys, if you put them on a court, they're a little bit better than everybody else physically and tennis-wise, but that mental aspect, that belief or that understanding, that experience that they have makes the gap look very big in the tight moments.
I know, having read a little bit about you, that you're a Sampras guy. Is he still the best of all time?
Oh, I wish I could say he was. Yeah. Maybe that's why I got some resentment towards Roger for beating his records. But I think you got two guys ahead of him right now, and even just having those two guys ahead of him, I don't even. Roger's staple up there as the best of all time might be a question in a few years with what Rafa's been able to do. He's only 3 Grand Slams behind. He's got a better head-to-head record against all the top guys that he's sort of faced off against consistently. So it's an interesting time because I'm sure Sampras thought his record would hold up a lot more. Then Roger passed him, and then now I'm sure Roger feels a bit uneased at how close Rafa is to him.
We've had this conversation on the show before, and I've said, I'll just say it. I've said that I think that Rafa's better. And the only reason I say, how can you be the best of all time if you have a losing record against someone in your generation who's almost like the fact that Rafa owns that mark between the two so significantly, to me, questions Roger's greatness. There are those who will just chop it at the knees and say it's because Rafa's a clay court player. As a guy who can say that that's not your best surface, can you dispute this idea or just crush the idea that just because Rafa wins a lot on clay, that it takes away from his overall game?
Hey, clay is a big part of our year. You can't. Every surface has the exact same value, and there's so many numbers, stats that you can look at. The one stat that really is tough to take away from Roger really is the Grand Slams. And one thing people forget is the years you finish number one. There's a difference between being number one a few weeks and finishing the year number one. And I'm not sure how many year-end finishes Rafa has at number one right now.
Right.
And
so
especially
you throw
now
that in the mix.
You got to throw that in the mix. One thing people forget about Pete, finished 6 years consecutively number one.
Right.
He wasn't number one the whole year for 6 years, but last week of the year after you play that World Tour Finals, everybody starts at 0 in January.
Right.
Where you finish in December, he was number one for 6 years.
All right. I'm gonna when I have this conversation in the future, I promise, world number one end of the
finishes.
Year. All right.
If I hear you not bring that up, I'm gonna be calling in.
Okay. How about this? If you hear me not bringing it up, I'll stand on the baseline and you can serve at me. All right.
I'll take that one. But that
look
one won't
at
be
the size of my head. By the way.
That one we won't do
target.
over radio. We got to put that on film.
This will be on TV too.
Yeah,
Don't worry
come
about
on.
that.
We got to make sure that that's seen. I've already hit a rash once. Come on. I gotta get on the Sportsnet crew here. Some target practice.
I would say that a rash has a bigger overall target than I might. However, I believe my head might be bigger than a rash's. So you could just paint right on the bald forehead.
Are you gonna go front facing or back facing?
Oh no, I'll front face. I'll cover my face so that I don't have a broken nose.
Okay.
Do you think you could break a nose with a serve?
We can try.
Don't give him horns for that.
I love it.
All right. We got to let you go. Apparently, you got to go through the rest of the car wash. Really appreciate you coming by here, though. And,
Thank you for having
some
me.
Time. Our NBA insider, who just happens to be the 6th-ranked tennis player in the world, Milos Raonic. And if you ever want to talk basketball, if you ever get sick of talking tennis with somebody, do us a favor, call in, and we'll bash the Knicks together, okay?
Hey, I'm not a Knicks hater, but I like to take some shots at my friends, that's for sure.
I'll say this. I've been a Knicks hater for a while, and it's not because I don't like the team. It's because I think that they're vastly overrated because of the market that they play in. But I'm scared of what Phil Jackson can do.
I got to say this one thing.
Okay.
They've had a lot of things go against them, but the biggest pity is having their owner be their biggest issue.
Yeah.
And
James
Dolan
is a pain
they might have things around the wrong way. Maybe Phil should be coach. Maybe you got a point guard in Fisher. But you know the words are going to go down through Fisher, and I think Phil doesn't take on a challenge if he doesn't think he can get ahead of it. He's got too much to his name, and I don't think he needs more money. That's for sure.
If he can make Carmelo Anthony a winner in the NBA, full credit to him, honestly, because he's had chances.
For sure. But is Carmelo a winner? Nobody can make Carmelo a winner. He's got to make himself a winner.
$1 million question, my friend. Hey, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Nice talking with you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Milos Raonic.